Hi everyone, welcome to the second video in this series from the Botanicum book by Maria Trolle, and today we're going to just do this gorgeous little cute girl. I thought would be a nice one to do. So we're going to come in really closely to her, try and keep her all in shot. In the middle, there she is. Now, I'm going to start with her skin. I'm using Derwent Lightfast still, so I'm going to be using those two. There are quite a few tones which will work for a pale skin, which is what I'm going to attempt to do. A little bit scared, you know me and skin tone, but we'll see. I'm going to start with the dusky pink. Just checking my lights on it is. And I'm going to do the areas that I think would have some shadow. So under here we've got her leg. I'm not sure how easy it is to see. I'm thinking it might be a little darker, whoops, at the bottom there, and then maybe just along the edge here. And to me it looks like she's bare-legged, barefooted, bare-armed. So I'm just trying to put a bit there, and I'm thinking there may be some shadow under her skirt, but I might not do the shadow in pink. I'm going to leave that for now. And then her arm, I'm thinking at the bottom it might be a little bit darker, just to do with the light is likely to be coming from above. And then on her face, oh, we've got this arm as well, hold on, a little bit in there. Her face, I'm thinking under the chin here, there's going to be a fair bit of shade. A little bit along the edge of the neck there, in the neckline of the top, and up the edges of the hair. It's really fine work, so it's quite tricky. I've got lots in the hair there, which wasn't my intention. A little bit under here, up the face just a tad. I'm going to get my next darkest pink, which I think is the Salmon. Nope. There we go. Now I'm going to take the colour up a little bit. Now with the Derwents you can spread the colour a bit like with a Prisma. You don't just have to layer it, you can actually take some of the colour you put down and spread it upwards, which is what I'm trying to do a little bit. So I'm just overlapping the edge. Now we do have a flesh pink in this set, but I haven't grabbed that one. I hope you can see. So I'm sort of overlapping what I've done and just bringing it forwards a little bit. Probably will use the flesh pink in a minute. That's a bit dark down there. I'm going to overgo it a little bit and hopefully fade it a bit. Go. Now I'm going to grab the flesh pink. Oh, excuse me sniffing. And just to finish off really. So I'm quite happy with the legs, but I'm just blending it together really with the flesh pink, just going over all of it. Now remember, you can always go back over. So if I use this too hard and we lose our shading and our light and shade, can always go back over it with the dark colour after. So there's no need to worry. But I'm quite happy with how she's looking, to be honest. I don't want her skin to be too dark because of the background. She needs to stand out from that. Unless we go really dark, and I don't know, I'm not confident about colouring really dark skin. I wouldn't know where to start really. I can look at my own skin and copy colour from there, which is what I tend to do. As you know, I'm not very good at skin. Now I think there are a few areas that might be a little bit slightly shady. I'm trying to look for a colour that I can do shade on skin without it looking a bit strange. And I'm just wondering what to use. I'm wondering whether this will work. I'm going to sharpen it. I've got my Derwent sharpener. which, sorry about the noise. When I first got these pencils, I had one that broke a lot. I'll show it to you. It broke a lot. And I wrote to Derwent and complained and said, you know, this isn't, am I using the wrong sharpener? What is going on? And Derwent, excuse me, sorry, I had to wipe my nose. Derwent sent me a sharpener. So this is the Mars Violet, and I'm going to use it really sparingly as shadow under the chin there. Just really gently around the hairline. The tiniest bit, and then around this hairline, just underneath. I'm really not pressing very hard because I don't want it to be too dark, and I want it to just be the shadow of the dress. Oh, that was not good. What it did was when it snapped it went splodge, so we need to erase that little bit. Doesn't want to. Never mind, her skin isn't perfect, is it? She might be little. So that's all I'm going to do for her skin. Now her hair, as much as I'd like to do her blonde because I think it's a pretty hair colour, I've always wanted to be blonde, I think brown is going to be a better choice because of our background. Blonde is going to merge in with the background. So I want my palest hair colour to be darker than my background. So I'm going to go my sort of lightest brown. I'm just having a look. I think the Van Dyke brown and the natural brown might be the two that I'm going to use. If you have a look, they are two different shades. But I'm going to have to sharpen them to quite a fine point because we do have a very small detail here. So you'll have to excuse me making a lot of noise with my sharpener while I just get these to a good point. There we go. They're not as pointy as they could be, but this is probably enough to prevent them from snapping. Okay, so we've got her hair in a plait, obviously. So I'm thinking about where is it going to be darker? And I'm thinking probably at the base. I'm just going to gently work that brown. So sorry, I'm using the natural brown, the darker brown out of the ones that I've chosen. And I'm going to sort of work up through the middle of that plait. And then just take the colour out slightly. We can take a bit more out as we move further up. Like that once we've got a bit more hair to play with. Now the edges, I'm going to put a little bit dark on the edges as well. And we can hopefully get a bit of shine on her pretty hair. Now, I'm trying to look at the shape of the hair and think about where it's going to be darker and lighter. I think it's definitely going to be darker under the flowers, so let's do that first. Get in under all these flowers to start with. Take that colour down a little bit. Now I'm thinking that's sort of tucked in there. Maybe a bit of dark here. And then we've got a sort of curl here, and I'm thinking this bit looks to me like it's pushed in a bit. And that bit closer to her. And then on the top of her head, it's going to be darker along the edge of the flowers, and lighter right on the top. That looks like it's a bit of background that I missed. Oopsie. Okay, so the Van Dyke brown next, and we're going to try and sort of fill in all the gaps really. So spread the colour out from that darkest brown. These little bits are quite tricky. I do want to try and make sure there's a bit of brown on every bit of hair really. Leaving white does make it look shiny though, so maybe we'll leave a bit of white. I'll leave a bit and then I'll have a look at the end and see whether I like it or not, or whether I think it needs filling in. So here is the bit that I thought would be closer to us. Trying to leave it a bit lighter. Same here. It's sunny today. I thought it was going to rain all day. Obviously wrong. I think it might rain later. But I'm not going out today because I'm expecting a delivery. Although I'm expecting some tomorrow as well, and I do need to go out, but my son's home tomorrow morning, so I think I'm going to nip out while he's here. And he can answer the door if the delivery comes then. There, I'm just sitting back and having a look, and I think that's fine with those few white bits. I think it helps to give it help us see the curls and the shine in the hair, so I'm going to leave those. Now, the flowers. Now I quite like the flowers to match the flowers, the blooms of the blackberry bush. Now the blackberry flowers are very, very pale pink, and we don't really have that sort of colour. We're going to have to make it. I think we can do that. We can grab the heather, which is this sort of colour, and then we can add some salmon, or yeah, I think if we add the salmon it'll work, but look how this needs a bit of a sharpen or a lot of a sharpen. Now often these flowers are quite white, but I haven't practiced white flowers, so yes, heather. What I'm going to do is do the petals and just fade them like that, and this is a bit too purpley really, but once we add the other colour I'm hoping it will make it look a bit more pinky. So you notice I'm leaving the edge white. I might do that anyway. I will see how it looks, or I may colour it with the salmon. So here's the salmon, oops, and we'll just go over that heather, and it will sort of darken and spread it a bit, but it may just change the colour enough. I don't think it has really. We may just have to do them the wrong colour. The problem I find with these Lightfast is there isn't quite the right pink for what I usually need. Now the centres of the blackberry flowers are actually a sort of green, I would say almost a lime, no, lemon type May green, something like that. The foliage is the closest we have, so that's what I'm going to do. Like that, but they have lots of white, so we are going to grab a white pen. Yeah, Gellyroll 05 is a very fine tipped white pen, and we will be dotting and doing small lines and dots coming out of the middle. It's barely visible because it's such a small design. I think it just breaks up some of that black in the centre. There we go. We'll be doing the same with the bigger flowers, and it'll be a little bit more obvious. Now her dress. She's holding a blackberry, which we are going to colour in blackberry colours. So I want her dress needs to stand out a little bit. She's on a green leaf and she's got her wings, which we've got to think about as well. I think I might do her wings first. Now I thought her wings might be pretty if they look a bit mother of pearly, but I've got absolutely no idea how to do that, so I'm going to mess around with a few pencils, see what happens. Wish me luck. Watch and decide. So I'm going to start with the turquoise green and do some little areas. It can be quite light because I'm going to sort of ignore the fact that there's markings on the wings. I'm going to do it quite light because they're wings. They're not, I don't think they would be dark. I think they'd be quite light. So just a few areas here and there. Doesn't really matter where. Okay, and then some areas of pink. Yeah, I don't want the salmon. Let's use the heather. I think that's the one. Just a few areas here and there. Then I think we need a blue. Yeah, I think we need to use the mid ultramarine. It's a pale colour. And then I'm going to use a... what was I thinking? I had a thought and it's escaped me. I was thinking maybe a grey. Maybe this purpley colour first. This is the wild lavender. We'll do a bit of that. This can be quite intense, you need to keep it light. Okay, now it's really pale, I don't even know if you can see it, but I'm going to go over it, all of it, with the Arctic, which is a sort of whitish colour. Next, just to sort of try and blend the colours together and fade those black lines a bit. You can see how it's, hopefully you can see how it's fading the black lines down a little bit. You don't have to use a white pen to fade black lines, you can do it with a pencil. Obviously it's not as faded, but it can be quite effective in circumstances like this. Okay, now I'm going to get a grey, this one I think, the mist, and put a bit of shadow in under here where they're overlapping, and down here. It's not really showing up. There we go. Okay, now my next little thing is trying to find the right pen. There we go. This is a Gellyroll Stardust pen, number 700, and it just adds a sparkly glaze. That's what I'm going to add on top of all of her wing. And hopefully it will help to enhance that little bit of colour that's underneath. Just a tad. Obviously only when it's in the light. I'm still trying to decide what colour to do her dress, by the way. So I'm procrastinating by doing this bit, which really I should do last. But anyway, I am thinking, Yeah, there's a bit there that's background as well. We might have to just make it plant to make it work, but I'm not sure. I think we can probably do it. We might be able to do it in the yellow ochre. Actually, I think I'll just try that now, see if it works. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. It's probably not the only bit I've missed, but I think it works, so that's good. Right, now dress. She's got little dots on her dress. What I think I'm going to do is ignore those dots at the minute, colour the dress and then put them back in pen. I've just realised I've coloured over the edge of her dress in sparkly gel pen because I thought it was her wing. Never mind, we should try and go over it in pencil and see what happens. Now I don't want her dress to sort of clash with the berry. I want the berry to stand out, but I'm going to use the deep rose. It's quite an intense colour, but I'm going to use it lightly and then go over it in another colour to tone it down a little bit. I find I have to do this quite a lot with these Derwents because you don't always have the right shade, and they either seem to be very intense or extremely pale. So you have to sort of fiddle around with mixing them up until you get the right colour. So we're going to try colouring over that and see what happens. Never done that before. We'll see. Oopsie. It's definitely already looks a bit pinker, so I could probably scrape it off once it's dry, but it's not dry. So we'll see. So as you can see, it's just a really gentle light layer. There we go. And then I want the really light pink. We have got this colour, the Oyster. And I'm going to use that on the top, and it will blend and burnish. It will darken it without making it really intense. Can you see? You could probably use a blending pencil or a burnisher to get this effect, but I wouldn't use a burnisher because I want to add some more layers. And once you burnish, you're done. So it's fine for your final touches, but not in between times. It's like if you wanted to add a spray of lacquer or something to fix your picture, or a non-workable fixative, you wouldn't do that until the end. Same as the burnishing. I have to admit I find burnishing quite scary because I think, well, once I've done it, that's it. If I don't like it, it's tough luck. I've done it now. And so yeah. Right. Shadows. We need a few shadows, and I'm going to go back to the darker colour, the deep rose, to put some in. Firstly, just behind the blackberry, just a little line there, like that. But we've got more here. Look, they're drawn in for us, these lines, so we can just use those. And here. And here. And then I'm thinking under this arm there'd be a little bit of a shadow. Just a little, maybe around the hair. And under there. And I'm going to go back over those with the Oyster so they're not so defined. I want them to be there, I want them to be darker. It's just almost using it like a blending pencil and to sort of just tone down a little bit. It's not quite so dark and stark. There we go. I think that's okay. I'm just thinking of the dots. I'm thinking I might just go with white. I think that would work because we've got the white in the hair. I'm using my Gellyroll number 8 now. It's a bit bigger on the tip. I'll make these white dots. I don't mind too much about showing the black lines because they're the outline of the dot. We haven't got rid of any black lines in any of the rest of the pictures. It's going to look a little bit odd if I suddenly just did it now. Now if you want to, you can use your white pen to go over the lines on the wings, but again, I haven't gone over any other white lines, so I think it'll look a little bit weird. Ooh, that's a car horn beeping. There's some temporary traffic lights up on the main road. I think it's causing some stress with drivers. Okay, so there's our little girl, and she's holding a blackberry. Now I'm going to do another video with the blackberry, the leaf and the flower. I'm not going to do the whole page because now if I come out you can see that the I am coming out, there we go. You can see that mainly we've got the same going on. So we've got lots of leaves, lots of flowers, lots of blackberries. There's a lot of the same thing, and we've got our little caterpillar too. So I think it might be wise if I come back in the next video and show you a blackberry, a leaf and a flower and a stem and the caterpillar, and not the whole page, because it's just going to be a lot of the same thing over and over. So hopefully then that will get you on your way to finishing. But there's our little girl. I think she's very cute. I think I've missed some of her white dots. There. I don't know if I missed them or if they just faded back a bit. I'm not sure, but there we are. There she is, sitting on holding her blackberry. She looks a bit sad. Now I haven't done anything with her eye or her lips. Her eye, firstly, is too small. We've got a white dot in the centre of her pupil, which I think gives it life, and we've got a bit of white eye. Her iris is black, but it's too small for me to do anything with. Her lips, again, are really tiny, and I found in the past if I've tried to colour lips, they look really weird, too bright, if they're on a side view. So I haven't done it. You can have a go if you want to. I have other pictures with people in where their lips are quite big. You know, they're a much bigger face, like the one here. And obviously with that one I would colour it in. And but with this one, no. I'm just going to leave her as she is. So yes, next time, as I say, we'll do blackberry, which I love doing, so much fun. Leaves, flower, and then you can have enough information to finish the page, which is really exciting. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Have a really lovely day and happy colouring.